Hello everyone, this is Gary Varvel. I'm the editorial cartoonist for Creator Syndicate, and this is my illustration, Draining the Swamp. We had the recent stories about the unmasking of General Michael Flynn, and it looks like that many of the higher-ups in the Obama administration were privy to all that information. So I'm putting them in the same boat, and they're as the swamp's being drained, they're kind of getting sucked into the drain. So I had drawn all of these caricatures before in a cartoon 6 months ago, and I got that out just as reference. I mean, it was my drawings, and so I don't have to spend a lot of time going to getting all the photographs of these people. Some of them I know how to draw from memory, but some of them, like Struck and Page, I didn't, and so I was going back to just find some of my earlier work, and then I redrew it here. And this takes a little bit of time trying to position everybody. I'm working in the program Procreate, and Procreate is great. It's so versatile in drawing, and you can reposition people just using a capture tool and then just moving things around. But right here I'm getting to the point where I'm inking the work in, so I can pencil everything, and then I can lighten it, that pencil work, and then I draw on another layer on top of it, and here you see it all starting to come together. Now I realized that I had this plug that had been pulled by this big hand above, but then I looked down and saw that I had drawn the drain way too large. So at some point here, when I realized that, I'm going to start shrinking that drain down some more. So here's the color work. I kind of flatten the images, and what I mean by flatten is I kind of capture the image and make it all one tone, and then on top of that, then I start putting the color, flesh tones where the flesh tones go, and now the clothing. And now I'm doing rendering work on this hand, that's this huge hand that's above here, labeled, you can see the cufflink says Barr, so it's Bill Barr is pulling the plug. And when I get this part of the drawing completed now, on a layer below this, I'm going to start putting in the background. So I started off with this green swampy material, and then I took that, I just deleted the color. I didn't delete it, I just I turned off that layer so then I could put in the groundwork. So this is just the ground, and then, you know, I've been thinking more and more in terms of dimension. So I wanted something in the foreground, a big tree in the foreground, which would push all of the other trees that are smaller into the background. It gives you a real sense of perspective, and what we call atmospheric perspective. You can see way in the background some really light brownish color of like trees or something that's way back there, and that gives you a sense, just because it's in the fog and it's, you know, the atmosphere makes it look farther away. This right here, what I'm doing is I've taken that green that I had before, and now I'm using a smudge tool, and I'm streaking everything down toward this drain. And this is just a technique that it's so cool to do. It's almost like painting, and you can take the paint and just kind of pull it where you want it. Now I'm using another brush to put textures on top of that, so it almost looks like mossy material. In the background now, I start messing with some of the grassy area that is around the trees, and I'm going to darken that in because I'm going to put some tree leaves up in the trees. And as I get the tree leaves up in there, obviously it's going to cast a shadow, so I'm going to need some darkness down there where the trees hit the ground. So here I'm putting in the tree leaves. And there's some really cool leaf brushes in Procreate, and I even created my own brush as well, but I'm using a variety of different brushes to get, and you can change the sizes on these leaves so that as they get closer to you, the leaves are larger, and then the leaves far away are really small. And then again, using atmospheric perspective, I'm going to start blurring those. Now I'm putting in some fog. I noticed that my drawing of the caricatures in the boat, they were kind of getting lost with all of the color I had around. So I thought, you know, I'll put some fog in there. So I just created a layer and used this white cotton brush that just really made some nice fog, and then using white, and then you could lighten it. Now I'm putting in the caption. Need I remind you that my administration was scandal-free? Yeah, right. Which is a quote that he had said before. And so that's it. And now I'm going to, a few details that I want to put in here, the last thing. And I'm going to show you a close-up. I'm going to put some highlights on the faces of these characters. If you look closely, you'll see some white spots start popping up. So just light on their faces, it kind of gives you a little more. I've already put some shadows in, but now I'm putting some highlights to give it a little more three-dimensional look. I put some moss on the boat. I figured if it's been in that muck and that swamp, it's going to get all kind of dingy looking, and there's some rust on it as well. And that's it. Thanks for watching.